Look around you, where you are right now. As you're watching this, look around your house. There are tools you have you're not using that can actually fetch you a whole lot of funds.
Forget about what people are saying. Don't listen to what people are saying. What people say about you or think about you is none of your business.
Many entrepreneurs want to build a business at the same time feed from the business. It cannot work. In Lagos,
but you just get to do something. Stop waiting for the manna to fall from heaven.
Never you at any point think you have 100% strength. It's not possible. So as a leader, you focus on your strength 100%, then your weakness, you get someone to fill it in. Now, the person you are bringing in, ensure that the person's weakness is your strength.
You have to come with something to the table. So what are you coming with as a woman? What are you bringing? Is it your intellect? Is it your beauty? We all know that beauty doesn't help anybody. If not, I'll be where Dangote is today.
Please, if you are listening to me, don't try and sell what is not sellable if you don't have the funds to push it.
Thank you for connecting with Simeon Ononobi today. Live sessions hold every Tuesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Please turn on post notifications for live updates.
Welcome everyone to Connect with Simeon. My name is Simeon Ononobi, co-founder and CEO at Connected Analytics, or you guys know us as Thank You Cash. And today I have a special guest in the studio, and we're going to be talking all things entrepreneurship, all things investment, all things growing a business. He's currently the director in charge of Founders Institute, which is a Silicon Valley-based accelerator. And I am happy to say I'm one of the mentors at the accelerator, and they have a huge global reach. They have a bunch of investors, they have a bunch of trainers, mentors, and they help people grow businesses. If you find Founders Institute alone, you're sure to make a success of your business. And they brought it down to Lagos, Nigeria, and I have one of the directors today, and he's going to be sharing with us everything you need to know about Founders Institute, everything you need to know about investment in Nigeria, everything you need to know about a hustle. So I'm bringing him into the studios now. Hey, welcome, Wande to the studio with me.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
And thank you for everything you do for us at Founder Institute.
I mean, it's a pleasure. The hustle must continue, and we must make Nigeria great. I mean, I don't care how we do it. We have to make Africa great. So
we need to.
Yeah. So one day, this is a program that I thought was wise to celebrate Nigerians that are doing awesome stuff, to bring up investors, to bring up entrepreneurs, to connect them, to figure out how we can actually make this country a success, even down to staff. How to make staffers work, how to make everything work. The hustle is real. It's very difficult to build a business in Africa, but if we connect, that's my thesis. If we connect, if we get ourselves together, we will make this place a better place. So it's a pleasure to have you in the studios today. And as we always do, we always tell the truth, the way it is, the raw truth. We don't sugarcoat anything. We tell people how it is, how raw, and how. I mean, we tell them the hard parts, we tell them the good parts. We don't tell them, just the sweet part of things. We tell them even the very, very hard ones. So we've had different people come onto the show, and I know you as an entrepreneur. You've been there, you've done it, you've been abused. And today you are directing one of the world's largest accelerated companies from Silicon Valley. And so how has been the journey? Where did you start from? Who is Wande Adalemo?
Okay, so my journey as an entrepreneur started a few years back, 1998 to be precise. And I was with my cousin. His name is Femi Adalemo, and he used to work with Sec Trusts in Ikoyi in those days. And then he said he wanted to send a mail to his elder sister, my cousin, also in the US. And in my mind, then, I mean, to send a mail, you need to go to a post office. It was a Saturday. I mean, what post office was open on a Saturday? You know how civil service can be in Nigeria. So I said, okay, maybe he knows better. So I was waiting for him. A few of his friends came over, and then we had some conversation. And I was watching the time. Time was running out. Eventually, he said, okay, let's go. We got to the car. We drove from Unilag. He was in Unilag then, staying at the quarters with his parents, Professor Adalemo and the wife. So we drove to Ikoyi. So it's always in Sec Trust. And I was still wondering, when are we going? This is 7 o'clock. There's no mail sending today. And then while I was thinking that, he said that, Remy has responded to my mail. What? Mail? How? So I went over to the computer, and that was the first time I'll get close to a computer in my life. It was in 1998. I see it in movies, I see it in offices, but God help you, you go close to a computer, the response you get is, get away from there, get away from there. What are you doing? Don't touch it, don't touch it. He was the first person that allowed me to go close to a computer, like, see what Remy said. That thing hit me like a sledgehammer. How did he send mail? Remy in the US, how did this computer connect to the... What? I could not sleep that night. I just kept on thinking, what just happened? How? In the morning, I woke him up and I said, what do you study in university to connect two computers together so you can send those to each other? He laughed and he said, well, what I'm thinking about is called networking. And that started my journey into entrepreneurship. So I did some networking courses, and I realized that the hunger that was ignited in me that night to ensure that I can connect as many computers as possible together is not just about learning networking. That there was more to just learning the skill and trade of networking. That there was something about getting the business off that I wasn't learning. And so I started doing a lot of research. I realized that, you need a network. There's something called broadband, and that forced me to the face of broadband. And I started traveling all over the world, started looking at various solutions, developing some ourselves. Then we stumbled upon what we call the Batman protocol, better approach to mobile adult networking, which allows basically every single access point you have today to work at the physical level, at the physical address level, instead of just the IP level. And that changed everything. And then, because I had that concept and I could see how Wi-Fi, because in my mind I saw that Wi-Fi was the way that third world countries could connect affordably. If we have a pervasive Wi-Fi network, a lot more people can connect as against the solutions that the big boys were pushing. First it was the 3G, then it was WiMAX, then it became Wibro, and then now we have the long-term evolution, the LTE, and now we're talking of 5G. However, Wi-Fi has been available in virtually every device in the last 20 or so years. So I realized that Wi-Fi was the way to go. So the next thing is, how do I get investors to fund my idea of a network? Again, my idea of a network was different from just setting up Wi-Fi access points everywhere. It had to look like a homogeneous network, which means if I'm working from one end of the campus to the other end, I must continually be connected without being disconnected. I must be able to control my connection to the network. I must, aside from switching up my Wi-Fi connection, there must be a layer that allows me to control my connection to the network and how many of my devices can connect at any point in time. So I started looking for friends who are in the same space with me. And I got some friends in Germany, some in India, and we came up with a solution. Now the solution was ready. Where do we find investors? And all this while, I didn't have a kobo. So every single money that comes in, Femi was also pushing some consulting job my way, because now I was CCNA certified, so I could do some jobs. So I was doing some jobs for Empyrean West Africa, because he was there as the head of networks in Empyrean. So a lot of their subscribers with their radio connectivity, I will go there. So I was a rigger. I will climb a lot of masts. I have fallen from several masts in Lagos while setting up radios, long distance radios. The Necom house on the island was almost like a second home to me. And then there was no lift in Necom house in Lagos. So you have to go the 32 floors by stairs. So God help you if you forget anything like your screw, your tools downstairs, you have to go all the way back. And then the wing on the 32nd floor at the top of Necom is from the sea is something. So most of the first over the water links in Lagos from mainland to from the island to Apapa across the water, we did most of those links then. And gradually the question now is, how do I find an investor that will help me build out a network as against just these silos and patches of just doing projects? So a friend of mine called Biola Kiyemi told me about an investor that was interested in the ideas, because I'd also to do in a business plan, right? So I spoke with him and he said, they want to see you. And the day he spoke with me, I didn't have a cover on me. So I said, yeah, where is the place? He said, on the island. I have to stay with Marie is somewhere in Lagos, very close to a city called Surulere. It's in a So said, you know what? He wants to see you. I said, all right. What time? He told me 5.
Well, we're having some current connection issues. I will try and get.
And I said, hello, yeah. I said, okay, I'll come to see him. So what I did was to brace myself up, and I took a walk from McMurray in Agutemeta, the suburb of Lagos, all the way to Ajosa Diogun on the island. Because I realized that, and before that time I had met over 1,000 different investors, all of them saying no. And each time they say no, from Atiku Abubakar to some notable names, each time they say no, I'll ask them why. So this investor, this managing director of a bank, great guy, he believed in what I was saying. He said he has seen the voice networks grow from nothing to something, and he believed that the next phase was mass market broadband. Unfortunately, we still don't have that today in Nigeria. So he said that if I can't convince him in less than 5 minutes, then I have nothing to offer. I guess I was able to convince him, because thereafter, both of us set up Oxygen, one of the foremost leading Wi-Fi networks in Lagos. And it was a success. Technically, it was a success. Commercially, it wasn't, and it failed. So that has been my journey. And then thereafter, I've also gone into setting up other startups as well. So when the FI opportunity came, I got a call from a friend of mine, longtime friend of mine called CFA, Fred Agbata. Crazy guy. Crazy guy. He called me up one morning and said, hey, dude, what are you doing? I said, fine, I'm trying to put up my things together again. I need to put this broadband in place. We need mass market broadband in Nigeria. He said, see, I know you're an entrepreneur. Would you like to help other entrepreneurs? Because Oxygen failed. And I lost investors' money. And that's still painful till tomorrow. Investor confidence. And you know what happens? When I invest in you and you fail, you have actually blocked the way for 100 other people from getting investments, because they hardly will believe in anyone anymore. So it was almost like a nightmare for me. How do I get back? How do I get their confidence back? How do I show them that this can be done? So when CFA said one day, hey, come, let's help investors, let's help founders, let's help entrepreneurs. I said, how? He said, Founder Institute. I said, nah, I don't want any American thing here, I don't want any. He said, no, this is not an American thing. Then Silicon Valley, yes, but they allow you to run your chapter locally. They want you to adapt to local customs. They want local investors to fund the founders. They want you to show them how it works in your locality. I said, okay, that's fine. I thought that was all it was about. And then he said, no, you have to go to a school called the Leading Institute for 6 weeks. It's the toughest school I've ever been to. University was like a breeze for me in Nigeria. You just read, cram, and then put it down. But this is an American system, and it was pretty tough to become a director at the Founder Institute. For 6 weeks, I had to call CFA, I'll call the other directors, CFA Dieze, Rotimi, and like, guy, how do I answer this question? And then you have to do a lot of research on funding, VC, the competitors in Nigeria. What is the landscape for investment anyway? Why are founders not working? Why is the startup culture not working in Nigeria? What is going on? So it opened my eyes to a lot of the reasons why we're not working. And we had one answer. All of us had one answer. We lacked critical thinking. So find mentors who can help founders think critically. Oh, that one is easy. There's Simeon. There is Bio. There is CD. And all of these people who have not gotten sucked into the false ecosystem we have, where everyone is trying to dress the government and look like a good boy. So we knew that part of our assignment was easy, because if we get Simeon, if we get Bio, we're on our way to ensuring that the founders get quality. So that's been my journey in brief, from Wande to an entrepreneur in the last 23 years.
Wow. I mean, listening to that, a comment was made by Madugu. He said, "Wow, I remember oxygen." Like,
wow.
One thing I've always told people: you have to be true to yourself. We are going to fail. We're going to keep failing, but one day we will succeed.
Yes.
Tell yourself the truth, learn from your mistakes, and just move on. Yeah. Now you make some critical points, which is why we have lots of talents, no doubt about it. Yes. We have a lot of talents. I mean, a population of about 180 million, we have about 10 million, adults or youths in a particular sector. We have guys that have gone through a lot, but still we're failing. A lot of us are still failing. Yes, forget about the window dressers. Forget about the people that, sit down and make it look like it's all rosy and all that. People are still failing. What do you think accounts for this level of failures? What do you think accounts for us not actually reaching that point? And how is Founders Institute addressing this?
Okay, so number one, the way we are educated in Nigeria, if you notice, a lot of the founders who have gone to Silicon Valley, the Simeon Onunobis, the Printivo, Yomi, Oluyomi Ojos, everyone who has gone to Silicon Valley and has come back, you see that there's a huge difference in the way they think. And you see how their businesses make progress. You've seen the up and down while they were here. The reason is because our educational system here is completely messed up. It's archaic. It was set up for civil service. It wasn't set up for innovation. So over the years, after the Britons left and we adopted that system of education, the 6334, it is simply geared towards ensuring that you're a civil servant. You are a civil servant under a militarized system, even if you call it some kind of democracy. So you're only doing what you're asked to do and don't do anything beyond that. You can do less, that's fine, but don't go beyond that. Don't outshine your boss. Just keep within it. And that's what the educational system tells us to do. Even when you get to university, let me share one example with you. So I dropped out of the university my 300 level because I got tired of the entire system. You can't question your lecturers. You can't ask questions in class. You can't refute a particular theory. Now, interestingly, I was studying mass communication in the Olabisi Onabanjo University while I was building oxygen, while I was running around to build oxygen. And then one of the lecturers came and taught us about the types of advertising. And while teaching us type of advertising, he alluded to the fact that a product's unique selling point is what makes the difference in advertising. And I put up my hand to say that has changed. That will you say a beer, as an example, like in Lagos, Nigeria here, we have Gouda and we have Star. Will you say the unique selling point is the brown bottle of Gouda and the green bottle of Star? I don't think so anymore. I think it's value, which is why Gouda will tell you that the ultimate man takes Gouda. And Star will tell you, well, you can be the ultimate man. We are the shine bubble. So the self-value, the unique selling point is been into values. I mean, look at Facebook. It's no longer about the unique selling point. It's a social media network. Nobody talks about the unique selling point. They talk about the value it offers you. The value to meet billions of members. The value of advertising. You know what he did? He told him to get out of his class. And I said, well, you know what? I've had it up to here with all you archaic, half-baked lecturers. This is not how to learn. This is a university. I am not a pupil in a secondary school or a primary school. We are here to cross-fertilize ideas. You come to class, no notes, nothing. There's nothing new you're teaching me other than what you've taught them in the last 5 years. And I walked out of school that day. My dad doesn't speak with me till tomorrow because of that. We're still at loggerheads because I dropped out of university. But that's the problem thousands of innovative young minds face. So they have innovation in their hearts. They want to build. They want to start a business. But what they have always known is ICANN. What they've always known is the system of education that does not allow them to try and error, that does not allow them to innovate or think critically. If it's not written in a book, you can't do it. So there's a lot of copying and pasting of models that will not work in Africa, which is why you see a lot of failures. Now, what does Founder Institute do for these founders? What we do is we take you, number one, there's a curriculum that is like a company building curriculum. So this idea you have, go and validate it in the market. Before you even talk about revenue, before you talk about making money, go to the market and let the market tell you brilliant idea or crazy idea. Regardless of what the market tells you, the system allows you to pivot and pivot until you graduate. By the time you're graduating, your idea is almost ready to be a market fit. By the time you're graduating, you have almost a minimum viable company, not even a minimum viable product. Then the second part of the project of the program is the mentors. Oh my God. Excuse me.
Sorry.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
The mentors are probably the most critical element in the entire 14 weeks that I spent at the Institute. So mentors who have done it before, who have failed, who have risen, who have been successful, from Thank You Cash to InterSwitch, from Printivo to IDM. Every single mentor, Waka now, people from this work, CEOs from all of these companies come in and face you and tell you the truth. So by week 3 or 4, the bias you have towards your idea is gone. What you now have, what you have in your head is, I need to think this through. Any founder that does not adhere or follow the instructions or the curriculum and the feedback on the mentors find themselves dropped. As an example, in this just concluded cohort, we had 46 founders coming, and they faced over 50 different mentors over a 14-week period. Only 23 of them succeeded in graduating. Only 23 of them. That's to tell you how impactful the mentors are. I mean, they even hate the mentors. They hate Simeon. And then they now grow to love Simeon. Oh, okay. So what he was saying in week 2 or 3 was right. Now I can see it. So that is what we're doing at Founder Institute, helping Nigerians who have gone through the outdated system of education to now start doing critical thinking using a curriculum developed from the startup capital of the world, which is San Francisco, Silicon Valley.
Cool. I mean, I've been part of Founders Institute. It's a wonderful place to be. I wish we had things like that before I even started my entrepreneurial journey.
Exactly.
One thing that I believe that we lack is not knowing, where to go and what to do. A lot of us don't. There's nobody to learn from. There's. I mean, yes, they say read a book. They say do this. They say do that. But read a book does not convert the ocean human. Read a book does not tell the conductor to buy your product. Read a book doesn't even tell an MD in a bank that this is what you can offer them. So how do you expand this? How do you? So, for instance, I'm opportune to be part of those that advise, I talk to governments, I talk to parties, I talk to individuals, I talk to different people. And one critical question has always been on everybody's lips. How do you train Nigerians to get to the point where everybody wants I pass my neighbor? So I'll give you a critical example before I throw in the question. Some years back, I formed a project called You Win, which was, let's figure out a way to put money in entrepreneurs' hands and let's push it. Because at that time, I thought to myself that if you can push money to people's hands, like grants, they would build businesses, they would employ people. But I forgot one critical thing: the education part of
Yeah.
growing a business. So how do you take this part? How do you enshrine it into a society that is filled with, get rich quick, that is filled with just perform fraud, that's filled with people that don't want to learn anymore because I've gone through school for 5 years. Why should I start
Yeah.
again? How do you enshrine this and how do you make it, how do you expand it across a country like Nigeria?
So that's a very good question, and it's a big task. But again, we're up to it. So we have developed a university acceleration program, and we hope that the Nigerian government will eventually pay attention to us. It will happen. By the time we have critical mass, we have 40 founders who have gone through Founder Institute now. So by the time we get to critical mass, it will be a no-brainer to say, by the time they even graduate from the universities, can they go through this program? So the University Acceleration Program is to help and encourage innovators within the learning environment, using their professors and their doctors as mentors, as directors of the program, which means they also have to go through a training to understand the startup mindset. In the meantime, we're also in talks with the Bank of Industry. We're in talks with the African Development Bank. We're in talks with some of the development partners to say we need a lot more people who can't afford to pay to get this Founder Institute. Those who can afford to pay can come in, but we need a whole lot more people to get in. And we need a lot more chapters, viable chapters in Nigeria. So Abuja is coming up, but it appears that Lagos, Abuja are looking like the only cities that are viable in Nigeria. Again, because of the dearth of the startup ecosystem in other cities, or the dearth of real entrepreneurs that can actually help. So it's not just I want to be a local leader for FI, and they don't have any experience. So the University Acceleration Program is one of the key things that we are pushing for state governments, especially to inculcate into their state universities, so that every single year we can have 50 different students from different backgrounds coming up with the startup mindset. So instead of going to the NYSC and wasting 1 year, that 1 year will be used to build something while they're in the program, and then they get the support from all of us. So that's one way we're trying to do it. But it's tough and it's hard, really, because of the way Nigeria is. Our governments, they want to help, but then there are other interests too that pull them. Excuse me.
Sorry.
That pull them in every direction. So the question is, like one of the commissioners told us, if I put $100,000 behind Founder Institute, I will get maybe 5 startups out of it. Yes, I know the 5 startups can go on to become multi-million-dollar startups and create jobs. But if I take $100,000, I can buy a grinding machine for 10,000 women. So my governor would rather do that because it has political value than Founder Institute. So that's the dilemma we're facing. But we're engaging them. We're engaging the Lagos State government through the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. We're also trying to get to the Co-Innovation Center to say that it's a program that actually helps achieve the things you want to achieve without you putting staff and resources behind it. And we have the right kind of people that can run it. But it's really very tough. And we hope that in the next 4 or 5 years, we can see 1 or 2 universities come on board, and we can begin to see products from university, because Silicon Valley is a product of the MITs, the Stanfords, and the rest of them. And it's their product that we're seeing that has built that place. Why can't we have that sort of situation? Which is one of the reasons why, sorry, I was mad about the Yabacon nonsense. Excuse my language, but that's how I felt about it. So the Yabacon thing was focused on the entrepreneurs who wanted to make a name for themselves and create Yaba into like a Silicon Valley for Lagos. But you're excluding Yaba Tech, which is the capital of skilled technological hands in Nigeria. You're excluding the University of Lagos, which is just close to you there, the Federal Technical College, Jakoka. All of these institutions around you should be the bedrock of that. And then you bring the stars to Nigeria, the rock stars of startups to Nigeria. They don't visit universities aside from when Jack came to Nigeria. That's the first time I'll see someone going to university. And that's a problem. So that's a problem we have. There's a delineation of the universities from the startup ecosystem. So there are people in there who want to build things. No one is talking to them. No one is trying to help them. There are people outside who have built things. You're not talking to those universities. You're not going in there to say, let's set up something. Which is why I love what Mark Essien is doing, despite his reputation on Twitter. But the hotel network entrepreneurship system that he brings up, where he trains developers, it's an amazing program. And he does that within the university setup. That's the kind of thing we need. So imagine if he does this and then finally goes to universities and can collaborate. That will change a lot of things.
Wow. I mean, you brought out a lot of now, sorry about that. I know you guys work with LAN, which is the network, and I also know that funding is a major part of it. A lot of us run to Silicon Valley to get funding. A lot of us run out of the country to get funding because locally funding has been a challenge.
Yes.
Yes, we have some angels here and there that have started funding, putting money in investments, but there is still this large gap. So I'll take an instance. In Silicon Valley, for instance, over 10,000 startups are known to set up every year. Maybe a handful of them, 100, 200, actually make it to that $1 million to $1 billion business.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, when we will start seeing 10,000 startups, employing 100,000 people, getting funding locally, because we have a lot of money in Nigeria. So why do you think there is a big gap between start investing locally and actually, growing these things for ourselves? I mean, apart from the political, we have guys that are doing very well in business. So we have, the Tololubelus of this world. We have the Gimovias of this world. We have the Adigo Dangotes of this world.
Yeah.
Why don't we put that thought together? What do you think is holding them back from actually investing in the spray and pray method, which is what is happening in Silicon Valley, where somebody has $100,000, sprays on 10 founders, and just hopes that one of them becomes, a unicorn. So why do you think that's not working in Africa or in Nigeria?
So if you look at Silicon Valley is like a distilled version of the general American society. So in the US, there's a documentary called The Men Who Built America. So America had always been entrepreneurial in understanding startups and seeing startups grow to become behemoths that the government had to come to say, hey, you know what, let's cut you down, right? So they understand what it means to create and grow the startup culture. Then the education, like we said. Then there's investor education. So in Nigeria, what do we have? We have the inverted system. Our investors, the names you've mentioned, the big businesses in Nigeria are actually businesses that are gotten because of government patronage. Without government, these businesses would never have existed. Without cronyism, these businesses would never have existed. So that's what they understand. That's what they know. So they are averse to competition. They are averse to anything that will, if I put my money here, I want it back now. And then the banking system in Nigeria also has not given way to thinking of that future. So if I put 1 naira today, the bank will tell you can get 1 naira 30 kobo in 30 days. Why would I put that in a startup that I might take 10 years to get anything back or might even fail? So if a bank is saying put your money in this project, insurance will insure that money, insure that process, and ensure that even if you lose your money, you don't lose your capital. So investors who have the kind of money we're talking about are used to that kind of investment. So they requires a different kind of education for investors themselves to understand that. Let me give you an example. One of the founders in the first cohort got an investor who says, I like your idea, I want to put money into it, but I need 60% of your company, you will take 40%. Excuse me. And he said that he can't do that. So the investor called me and said, this guy is not serious. So what happened, sir? He said, I told him I'll give him $200,000. He will take 40%, I'll take 60%. He's not happy. And I smiled. I said, I need to come and see you. So I went to him and I took him through the education of what it means to invest. And then what he invests today becomes ×2, ×3, ×4, especially for Nigeria that's improving and that has clientele lining up for it. So instead of putting 1 naira today and expecting 2 naira tomorrow, put 1 naira today, expect 5 naira in the next 5 years. That's the value of what 1 naira becomes. I'm trying to bring it up so that I don't speak too much. He also eventually understood what I was talking about, and eventually he said, "Okay, I'll invest $200,000 in this guy, but what will be my share?" I said, "It's not you that will determine that. Let the accountants and the financiers and investment bankers come in and evaluate what the guy has, and then they'll tell you what the value of the company is and what you are taking for your $200,000. Don't rush into investing, because if you do, if anything happens, you lose the $200,000." And you'll be unhappy with the guy, and the guy will be unhappy with you, the idea dies. So there needs to be an investor education. It's growing thanks to people like TD and the Angel Network. It's growing. They're beginning to understand now that, oh, it's not what we think it was. We don't have to control the company. Again, I also came up with an idea that I've discussed with other directors in Founder Institute that enables investors who are still shy to say, you know what, put your money here. Whatever happens, we will initiate a bankruptcy process for you, a process similar to bankruptcy for you, where you can recoup a lot of your investments, where the insurance will insure your money so that the founder can have access to innovate. Meanwhile, the founder does not have access to all the funding at once, because another fear investors have is, I give Wande $1 million, and the next thing is you see different girls with him, and the business does not grow, and then he doesn't listen to me. I want to say something, he says no, I can't say anything, and my money is with him, I can't control him. So we give them that kind of control without infringing on the innovation of the founder. So the money is released in phases and milestones and KPIs, and when it gets to the final KPI, the investor can now exit, and other institutional investors can now come in. But the company is successful, 1. 2, investor is happy, the founder has grown, we have created a new startup. So we think a pipeline of this will also help investors to begin to free themselves up. So we did a lot of work on the ground to solve that problem. But yes, funding is a major challenge, again, because of the nature of how we do business in Nigeria.
But I mean, thanks for that. If you have any questions, please throw in your questions. I'm happy to get Wande to answer your questions. As usual, just drop your questions in the comment box and Wande will answer. I see some of our investors my investors have joined in. I'm not going to be mentioning names, but thanks for coming in. The main issue has always been this, and I mean, I would take, for instance, my journey. I mean, I had failed in the past, and I just realized that if I know what I know today, probably that would have been, well, maybe I would have failed, but it would have been a bit mitigated. And yeah, I learned a lot of things when I came out to the Valley in America. And two of those things were, one, investors in Nigeria want to control the business. So they see they are older, they have the money, so why should they tell you what to do? And that normally inhibits growth, because the founder gets demoralized, he doesn't want to continue what he's doing, and at the end of the day, if the founder is not focused, the company dies. Number
Yeah.
two, I see another issue with investors, um, a reverse. So in Nigeria, investor wants more. In America, investors want less. And I find
Yeah.
that very funny. You get into an accelerator in America if an investor has more of your company. You cannot get investment in Nigeria if an investor has less of your company. So
Yeah.
it's like
Exactly.
there's a total flip of what happens in the whole space. But so how do you think? Do we need a founders? Do you need an investors institute where investors are actually taught how to actually work these things through? Because where the fear is there is no appetite for failure. How do you create that appetite for failure? How do you create that appetite where investors know that even if let me put in 10, if I get one, great. Also, how do you create an appetite where an investor sees it like, I will do an it times two or times three? Because what makes the news is you raise $20 million. $20 million. Do you
Mhm.
calculate it in naira?
Yeah.
Six point
Exactly.
something billion. You mean this company is worth 6 point something billion? No. Your own company, you start getting calls from your investors. Make sure your company is worth 6 point something billion. Make sure your company is like, nobody understands that if I invest 10 naira today, at least let me even make 12 naira first.
12 naira. Yes.
Everybody wants to make 300 naira,
Yes.
3,000 naira the next day. So how do you create that mindset in investors? How do you help investors get to that point?
So you can never create that mindset in Nigerian investors um, until or unless they begin to see, and they begin to see that they begin to see the results. So we have like a cover 360, right? And they begin to say, oh, okay, so what's happening there? We have TZT. Oh, they're going to say, oh, so what's happening there? Until we begin to see success stories like that. So it's a catch-22 for us. How do we get success stories? So as Founder Institute, this is what we're doing. We're talking to some VCs and saying our founders don't need, because they are perceived, they don't need all that money. Can we get $10,000, $10,000 for them now so that they can at least get from MVP into a point where they can be seed? And then we do a roadshow for them. And then we begin to talk about the stories. So we don't talk about our stories in Nigeria. We don't share our experiences. So the investors don't know what's going on. VotePay, as an example, is one very successful company, but nobody knows its story. Now, if VotePay comes and says, hey, investors, you know what? Don't worry, I did it. Put your money in 10 of it. 2 of them will do it exactly like I've done it. And I'm standing by you. We have a program like Founder Institute. We will ensure that they go through that so that if 5 of them come out, at least we know 2 of them will be successful. Put your money there. Because they can see the success story. If a Tanki Cash raises $10 million tomorrow and says, investors, do this too for Nigeria, they'll do it. The education will also have to go to bank MDs. The bank MDs need to begin to think longer term than the treasury bills, the mutual bonds, and the short money market systems that they're used to. They will start thinking of startups as a fail-safe system for them long term. But it's very unfortunate that we don't get the kind of support we need from the banks. Again, is it because they don't understand the startup culture? I think so, likely. Because you see them setting up a lot of acceleration programs, acceleration system, and nothing has come out of it, which tells you that either they don't understand it or it's a deliberate way of just being part of the entire noise of the ecosystem. So, can we change people's perception and mindset now? No. We only can change it if there are stories, and we're beginning to see those stories gradually. Founder Institute is a very successful story. 40 people have come out. Some of them are funded. Last week we were on a call with a VC from Silicon Valley saying, hey, we didn't know that this was in Lagos. Now that we know it's in Lagos, we want to fund your graduates. Send us your best lists. So when they begin to see these success stories, they begin to realize that the next companies are not companies that government give licenses or you write a letter saying they're a bunch of useless people. No. You don't need to. They realize that the next companies, you don't need to know anybody in government. There are companies that are building things for everyday people for the future. Then they begin to join the bandwagon, and it's never too late. Anyway, it's never too late. As long as they are alive and they have the funding, then that's the way to go about it.
I mean, Saheed said something. Saheed says investors in Nigeria do not have the risk appetite. Do you agree with that?
Saeed. Okay. They do have the risk appetite. And if anyone goes into oil and gas, I don't think there's anything that's risky, much more risky than the oil and gas. It's a very risky industry to put money in because it could gain so much. And one government can wake up tomorrow, a president can wake up tomorrow and his son says, you know what, I don't like Wande's face. And then they just come up with a policy that says all the OLMs, we're reviewing all the OLMs. And that's it. You're done. You're done. There's nothing, zero. Or they say, you know what, we're reviewing all the banking license. Or like Soludo did in 2006, consolidate. And then there's a consolidation and you lose your bank to someone else that you don't know. They pay you your money in shares. You just have a couple of billions in your account. You don't own a bank anymore. So they're not risk averse. But they don't understand the startup culture. What they're used to is the SME culture, the trading culture. 1 naira should equal to 5 naira. 5 naira should equal to 10 naira. They are not used to the startup construct where 1 naira can become 1 million naira, but there's a specific kind of process that goes with it. They don't understand what exits mean. What is VC? What is vesting? What are you talking about? Why should I own 10% of the company that, with all these projections, at the end of the day, you're making $10 million, and I'll just own 10% of? So they're looking at the profits. Meanwhile, startup is not about just the profit. It's about the value of what you have built. Alphabet today is not just about their balance sheet, their profits and loss. It's about the value of that company. Amazon is about the value of that company. Jeff Bezos has built probably one of the most valuable companies in the world. iPhone, Apple is one of the very valuable companies in the world. Their brand alone is worth millions of dollars. Just the brand, not even the product. That is the startup construct.
Yes, but I mean, with what you just said, so that's where a lot of us founders find it difficult to understand, and this is for everybody to actually chip in. If an Apple is a successful company and has done over 300 investments in the past 1 year, a Citigroup is a very great bank, and they've done over 400 investments. JP Morgan, Chaseman, everybody is doing investment in startups.
Yes.
The WePays of this world are owned by other startups. WhatsApp is owned by another startup. The point is, if we have successful banks, in quotes, that have billions and trillions of transactions, yearly, annually, and make huge sums in terms of revenue, why are we not investing in startups that are vertical towards what they are doing? So, for instance, why do you think the banks will fight against another startup in the same fintech space? Why not just accelerate these companies and have shares in them? Why would you want to outrightly fight these companies?
Okay, so again, it's a function of the different systems that we're used to. In the US, the system that they used in the US is a system where monopoly is not encouraged. The startup culture is encouraged. And it's not just today. It's been like that from the days of the Fords, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Andrew Carnegies. While JP Morgan wanted to monopolize everything, the American government strongly went against it, especially Roosevelt went against it and said, no, this is not going to happen. We're going to have smaller companies. Because they understand the value of smaller companies as against behemoths that if anything goes bust, the economy is in trouble. In Nigeria, most of those who own these multi-billion-dollar banks are subject to the government of the day. The shareholders are people who don't understand what startups are. If I put my money in a startup today, they are used to thinking that how will this startup grow? As an example, a lot of people come to Founder Institute, and we have to stop those kind of mentors and scare the founder to say, government can come, government can do this, government can do that. In the startup culture, you don't believe in all of that. You believe in, how can I ensure that the government looks at me and says, oh, okay. Let me tell you a small story. After I met that investor, we set up a Wi-Fi network at the computer village. And it cost us about $1 million to set up the entire computer village. And it probably is still the fastest broadband network you have in Nigeria when it was running. The NCC says that you must not have that kind of network using Wi-Fi. You can only do 200 meters, stop. 200 meters, stop. But I had an investor who, although was in the banking industry, but was startup focused. So I said, sir, you know what? I'm a rebel. So let's do this. So we did it. And we knew what the effect would be. So I flew to Abuja and sat with Tony Ojobo, sat with Usman, sat with Enes Ndukwe, and I said, we don't have broadband in this country, and this is the direction we are going. And they told me, you know what, we can't support you in public, but hey, go ahead and do what you want to do. We'll find a way around it. The policy looks wrong anyway. So I launched. And you know, the Computer Society of Nigeria and all those unions that they have, they call themselves associations, came very strongly against us. This is wrong. This is not what the law says. I didn't care. So Google came from the US to look at it and say this is an amazing thing. The Minister for Communications came to look at the network. Oh, this is fantastic. Everybody was saying this is an ambitious project. And the NCC had to come out to say, you know what, let's look at our policy again, which led into the revisiting of the broadband policy from 2015 to 2018. Startups need that kind of support to say, do something ambitious. People in government also want to make good names for themselves. And then, by extension, the big names you called now can now begin to say, okay, let's put our money here. But because we're used to cronyism in Nigeria, the first fear is, what if government comes against this company? I don't want to lose my money. And that, the government is probably the biggest impediment we have to the progress of startups in Nigeria. It is a sad and sorry thing to say, but it's the truth. Both psychologically, in terms of regulation and infrastructure, the Nigerian government is almost looking for startups to kill every day. And every investor is aware of this. I mean, look at what happened to OPay and GoCard and the rest of them. Because someone who had OPay is not in the good books of someone who is in a political party, that came down. Yes, you might say OPay didn't do their due diligence because there was a court case of the Okadas and the state government that was going on, blah, blah, blah. But hey, whether the court case was going on or not, the truth of the matter is that someone who invested in OPay, they got wind of it in government and they slammed the big hammer. So that's the fear for them. And how are we going to help government to begin to see that if without the startups, the economy can go beyond what it is now? Look at the NBC as an example. The NBC is saying people like Jason Njoku can no longer do original content unless and until they give 30% of that content to the NTAs. How would an investor put money in Jason Njoku again for Nigerian market? If I was an investor, I'll just tell Jason, oh boy, pack everything where you get, move to another country. So these big boys are used, they understand the government. Some of them have been very hot. One investor told me a very terrible story about one big boy in Nigeria that I won't mention here, and that small boy that bought him rice and what that big boy did to him with the rice. That's the story they are used to. So it's not as if they're not risk averse, but if we put our money in these small companies, they're small companies, can they fight? Bua and Dangote are fighting right now over mining rights in Nigeria. They are big companies, they can fight. Can a small founder who is starting a mining company fight a Bua or a Dangote? So those are the fears, and it's a government fear. The justice system does not work. So if I go to court, someone owns the judge. The police does not work. Look at the bank story going out. All you need to pay is pay the police some amount of naira and they do your bidding. So investors are very careful about where they put their money into. So what I tell founders is once you raise money, make friends with the commissioner of police in your state. Know him. Know the head of the Oluomos around you. Know someone in the NCC if you are in technology, or NIPTA if you are in technology. Know someone in Ministry of Commerce and Industry, as the case may be. You need these people to help you grow in Nigeria for now. Then, when investors are asking questions during FI sessions, most of the questions they ask is, how about regulation? How about the government? How about this? And it's constantly around, are you sure the government will allow you to operate? And that tells you where the majority of the problem is. So Tony Elumelu can do a Tony Elumelu Foundation, right? But will he invest in a startup in Nigeria that has the potential for growth, and then the government comes to kill it? So it's not about killing his own business, right? It's more about what will a fintech take to get a license from the CBN? It's almost like going through the eye, like a camel going through the eye of a needle to get that license, and that should not be so. So they see all these things. They've been in the terrain for a long while. They are afraid for these startups, but the startups themselves need not be afraid. The challenge for us is go do it, because you have the press behind you. These days you have social media behind you. So when you do it and a government agency is coming against you, activate. When the uproar comes, everybody comes to a table and says, okay, what's going on? All right, let's see what you have. Let's see how we can help. It is least likely, except there is some other interest tied to it, like in the Lagos State case, that they will really completely take you out of the market. So it's a catch-22 for us in Nigeria.
Thank you very, very much for those points. I mean, I just pray that we get to the point where we were looking back and smiling because we have actually revamped a country called Nigeria, and we will be truly the African giants, and also get to the African continent. I don't know if you have any questions for Wande, but he has really exposed a lot of things to us, and I believe that if you want to be great, please look out for the cohort 3 of Founders Institute. I think they just started. If you want to get raw, real lessons on how to actually run a company, please join FI. FI is the place to be. I work with them, and I know how you would go through those lessons. One day, I really thank you for coming on.
Thank you too for having me on board.
I really appreciate it. I mean, I see a lot of people that I never even knew tune into this show, but thank you. If you want to watch this program and you want to get in touch with Wande, I'm happy to do the connect. I'm happy to connect you to FI. Just send me an email. Okay, so Faith Andrews is actually a question, and that's the question she's asking.
Oh, did I have a mentor when I started? No, okay. I didn't.
so that answers your question. And so I mean, most of the things that Wande is probably telling you is probably from experience, having to hit his head on the road and making sure that and all that. So
and let me say this quickly. This is an amazing thing you're doing for us, because it hurts us when we hear about the hush puppy stories, when we hear about the fraud stories that begins to define Nigerians. That is not Nigerian. That is maybe less than 1% of these several millions of young minds who have innovation in their minds and they want to do something. So this is great. Thank you very much. In any way you want us to support it, please, we will be glad, because the stories about ourselves must come out there as against the stories we have in the press.
I mean, it breaks my heart when every time I tender my passport, somebody tells me, "Are you from Nigeria?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm from Nigeria, and I'm an entrepreneur."
Yes, you're from Nigeria, and we are proud to be Nigerians.
Exactly. So so it's just painful, but that's how we've seen it. Someone, Faith is asking the question. I don't know if this question, Faith, can you recoin the question? Are you talking about Founders Institute or Connect with Simeon? Which of the programs are you talking about? So, I mean, you can give them a lowdown of Founders Institute. When is
so the cohort 3 is starting. It's a virtual cohort this time around in Lagos because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But we also have chapters in Rwanda, in Egypt, in Lusaka, in Zambia, in Ghana, in Accra. We have almost about 10 chapters in Africa now. Abuja is also part of our chapters. For Lagos, the next program is starting in August. The same with Accra. I don't know about other African countries, but you can check out on fi.co. You will see a list of these programs in Africa. And we are also in 180 cities globally. So you can check whatever city you're in, you can check which city and join for the next cohort.
Okay, cool. I hear, is any in the UK?
Yes, there's Founder Institute in the UK. You have them in Manchester, you have them in London as well.
Cool. So check fi.co and you get all the information you want. Or else, shoot me an email, connect with simeon@gmail.com, and I will get you to FI one shot. I can get you to everybody there. They're my friends. They are wonderful guys. They're doing excellent work. And they don't miss words. They tell you as it is, and we will try to build sustainable businesses in Africa. We'll try to build sustainable businesses in Nigeria. Thanks, Wande, for coming. God bless you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your time. It's great. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Wande, God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wande is going to be leaving the studios. God bless you. Thank you. So if you were part of the show and you heard everything Wande said, know that a lot of things are happening. We're trying to rebuild our economy in the face of all the issues and the bad publicity. We're trying to get a good name for ourselves. Africa has to be great. Africa needs to be great. We just need to be great. So somebody just asked, who is Simeon? My name is Simeon Ononobi. I am the co-founder and CEO at Connected Analytics, or you could Google techycash.com. That's my company. I'm the CEO and founder of that company. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been there for a while, and I just seen the hot happening around us, and I just want to make a change. And the way we can make a change is to come together and make positive changes in our country. A lot of people are doing great stuff. We want to showcase them. We want to talk about them. We want to celebrate them. You've seen last Tuesday we had Adalemo Yusuf, who is the CEO and founder at TechPoint. We've had great guys come in from Genesis Cinemas to all the other great companies that have been built in Africa. We've also had investors come in. We've had a lot of people come in. So to Tuesday, where we're going to be having an exciting guest who is building something wonderful across Africa. Please tune in on Tuesday, 5 p.m. To connect with me. And I'm going to be announcing something great on Tuesday. So make sure you're there, because we're going to be giving out a lot of stuff on Tuesday. So make sure you're there. God bless you till Tuesday. This is me saying ciao.
Look around you. Where you are right now, as you're watching this, look around your house. There are tools you have you're not using that can actually fetch you a whole lot of funds.
Forget about what people are saying. Don't listen to what people are saying. What people say about you or think about you is none of your business.
Many entrepreneurs want to build a business at the same time feed from the business. It cannot work. In Lagos,
but you just get to do something. Stop waiting for manna to fall from heaven.
never you at any point think you have 100% strength. It's not possible. So as a leader, you focus on your strength 100%, then your weakness, you get someone to fill it in. Now, the person you are bringing in, ensure that the person's weakness is your strength.
You have to come with something to the table. So what are you coming with as a woman? What are you bringing? Is it your intellect? Is it your beauty? We all know that beauty doesn't help anybody. If not, I'll be where Dangote is today.
Please, if you are listening to me, don't try and sell what is not sellable if you don't have the funds to push it.
Thank you for connecting with Simeon Ononobi today. Live sessions hold every Tuesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Please turn on post notifications for live updates.